There we go. Checking in on some things here, just real quick. Let me make sure the audio is getting through okay. One second. There we go. Checking in on some things here, just real quick. There we go. Everything looks good. Let me just check on one more thing real quick. Turn that off. Off. Turn that off. I will be right back. Shush. All right. Now we're back. Now we are back. Here we go. Now I feel complete. I had forgotten my jacket, so I wanted to go get that. Let's see what we got here. A few comments right off the bat. Good morning from Philadelphia. Absolutely. I want to check something here. Style dynamic. Text box. Shrink. That was very, very strange. I did something and eCam just disappeared off the screen. I'm glad it came back on. Let me just check and make sure we're back on there like we're supposed to be. It said resume. That was very bizarre. Let me just check one thing. That was very, very strange. I did something and it... Okay, looks like it's... looks like we're okay. Let me just check Facebook. Looks like we're okay. Okay. Fine. I did something. I work in the beta of eCam. I did something with the text box and eCam disappeared, quit or something. So, but when I relaunched it, it came back on. So let's start over again. Good morning from Philadelphia. That's weird. Good morning from Philly. Okay. Spot Lewis. Good morning from North Carolina. That's a good, Philly's East Coast, and so is North Carolina. And I'm, of course, on East Coast. Good morning from Jamaica. Absolutely. Good morning from Puerto Rico. All over, this is a worldwide Final Cut Pro meetup. Every Saturday morning, we have a worldwide Final Cut Pro meetup. Where did my preview mode? There we go. Back to live mode. Okay, there we go. Back to live mode. Thanks for the thumbs up so early in the broadcast already. Thank you very much for the thumbs up. So there's a couple of things we're going to talk about specifically today. Final Cut Pro related. We're going to talk about the iPhone event, which is only a couple days away at this point on Tuesday. And what else we have? Oh, the Final Cut Pro Creative Summit, of course. We got some news about that. Disappeared off the screen. We got some news about that as well. Some things that happened this week. Let me just pull this down. Pull them on. I have a electric adjustable height desk, so I can raise and lower it depending on how the framing is. So that's what I've been doing. So what do you want to talk about first? You want to talk about the iPhone 15 event yet first? Or you want to talk about... There's not a whole lot of Final Cut Pro news. So over the summer, there wasn't that much news for Final Cut Pro, so we have to kind of keep things rolling the best we can. But having these meetups is pretty cool. You know, I like having these meetups on Saturday mornings. It's pretty cool. Let me just make sure we're still rolling here. iPhone 15 event yet first? Or you want to talk about... Yeah, that's fine. Everything's going good there. Let me just check. Make sure, it's weird, but sometimes you can turn the audio off, sometimes you can't. These meetups is pretty cool. I don't know why this turns off. Turns on by itself. The tab used to have a volume control, but it doesn't anymore. I'll just turn it down there. So I can turn it down a little bit. Any info? It's going good there. Let me just check. Make sure it's weird, but sometimes you can turn the audio off, sometimes you can't. I don't know why that is. Sometimes there's a tab up on the... I'm going to change that to... The tab used to have a... Here we go. Yeah, now it's taken care of. I don't have to worry about it. I'll just turn it down there. Now I don't have to worry about it. Thank you for the thumbs up, like I said. Any info... Make sure it's weird, but sometimes you can turn the audio off, sometimes you can't. I don't know why that is. Sometimes there's a tab up. Okay, so there should be no echo now. I'm going to change that to... I had a setting wrong. It says there's very low echo in your audio, but 5 to 10 seconds behind. There should be no echo at this point. Let me know if it's gone. For the thumbs up, like I said. Let me just see. Check one. Sometimes there's a tab up. Okay, so there should be no echo now. I'm going to change that. I had a setting wrong. Okay, hold on one second. It says there's very low echo in your audio, but 5 to 10 seconds behind. There should be no echo at this point. Let me know if it's gone. Let me just see. Check one. Now let's try it. Now let's see if there's an echo. Let me just put these on for a second. Check one, so I can hear myself. The echo should be gone now. I had Safari coming through the stream. Let me know if it's gone. The audio in these, when I'm streaming, I have multiple layers of audio things. Seems to be gone now. Yeah, I was trying to monitor Safari, and Safari was kicking back into the stream. Good. Seems to be gone now. Thanks for letting me know that. I'm not monitoring the live stream. Anyway, so any info on the MotionVFX new plugins that they will say will change the future of Final Cut Pro? You know, I don't know what they're talking about specifically. There's some people that might, but I don't know what they're talking. I don't know. I'm not plugged into that universe. Are you? Yes, it's gone. Thank you. Thanks for letting me know that, because I'm not monitoring the audio like I normally do. Safari was, whatever, kicking back into the stream, so that's why the echo was coming in. Thank you for the thumbs up. I appreciate it. So the MotionVFX thing is interesting. I'm not sure they change the future. It says change the future of Final Cut Pro. I think the only people that are going to change the future of Final Cut Pro are the Final Cut Pro team. That's who I think is going to change it. Obviously, they're talking about a plug-in that you're going to have to pay for. So I don't know what that is. I don't know what the future of Final Cut, I don't know what their plug-in is. Is that what it's called, the future of Final Cut Pro? Let's go see what they say on their website. Let's do that. Motion VFX. MotionVFX. I don't see anything on their website, but I know what you're talking about. I think we've seen it on Twitter. Let's go over to Twitter and look it up. Let me see here. Well, whatever. I don't know what they're talking about specifically. Maybe somebody out there does, but they can't tell because they're under embargo. I know somebody out there does for sure. A RotoBrush surface track, AI RotoBrush and surface trackers. That sounds like something I'm not involved with RotoBrushing or surface trackers at this point, so that is interesting. I don't see anything out there this morning. I don't see anything out there in the backyard over here at the Final Cut Pro Radio. So I've heard about a couple of other things that are happening. Well, first off, the Apple event is happening on Tuesday. Now, everybody knows it's the iPhone 15, the iPhone 15 Pro Max. Everybody knows all about that. We might not know everything, but we know a lot. We know USB-C, right? That's one of the things we know. So we know this Apple event. It's called Wonderlust. That's correct, Wonderlust. What we don't know, we've heard rumors about an iPhone Ultra, which is supposed to be a step up above the Pro Max. We do know this. It is getting USB-C. We know that. USB-C. Now, the question is it going to be fast data transfer? I've heard people on Twitter saying people don't care about the speed of data transfers. I do. I absolutely do. And I think a lot of others do as well. So when I film on my iPhone 14 Pro Max, like right now, it's torture getting media off this through the Lightning port, through AirDrop, any other way. It takes a long time. I want a USB-C port that's actually Thunderbolt speed, the same Thunderbolt speed that's on a Mac, so I can get files off of this phone onto the Mac much quicker than it's currently possible. Now, I've tried AirDrop. I have iMazing. I've tried other ways. It's just a pain. AirDrop's not that fast. This is, the Lightning port is USB 2 speeds. Not sure what that means. So anyway, we know that, well, it's Tuesday, first off, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. I'll be watching, obviously, because I'll be buying a new iPhone. Now, here's the thing. The iPhone 14 Pro Max itself has been very, very good. It does ProRes. You can record ProRes. It has a cinematic feature. It's got 3 times optical, 2 times some kind of weird optical, 1 times optical, and 0.5 times optical. Hi, Dreamverse. I plan to definitely upgrade. It will be the upgrade to get this year in a long time. I get one every year because I film a lot with my iPhone. My iPhone is really my primary camera. I have it with me all the time. I pull it out in a second. I'll just pull it out and I'll start filming. And I can, stabilize it as much as necessary while I'm filming. So it's always with me. It's at my bedside at night whenever I go out. Thanks for the thumbs up. I appreciate it. So I definitely will be getting the iPhone 15 Pro Max. I'm pretty excited about it myself. So what I'm not haven't determined yet whether I'll get the 1 terabyte or the 2 terabyte drive SSD. This one I have now is 1 terabyte, and I've never filled it up. I've gotten to about 500 gigabytes, and then I empty it off. So I don't need the 2 terabyte, but if that Thunderbolt port is indeed that USB-C port is indeed Thunderbolt speeds, I will consider the 2 terabyte. The other determining factor is how much the difference in price between 1 and 2 terabytes. A couple $100, I'll probably go for it. Ernest White says, coffee, Richard and me. Good morning. Thank you for reminding me, Ernest. Coffee, coffee, coffee. So, there's some other things that are going on. Let me just check on one thing. So we've had, let me see, is that going on there? Yes, that's going on. We had Tony Gallardo on this week. There's been a lot of, quote, leaks about the iPhone 15. Reason why we'll upgrade USB-C, is that the reason? So there's been different reports. Some say only the high-end models are going to get the Thunderbolt speed transfer. We'll have to wait and see what Tim Cook does, okay? And the team does on Tuesday. But I'll be signing up. I'll be selling my iPhone 14 Pro Max, 1 terabyte. Some of the other things that they've said are 6 times optical zoom, because the high-end ones, because they're going to have that periscope lens system. So 6 times optical zoom will be very, very cool. Is it going to be 1 and 3 and 6, or 1 and 2 and 6 plus the ultra wide this time? Don't know. But 6 for sure. I could have used 6 many, many times going forward. Now, when I'm live, like when I'm at NAB, I now edit on my phone with LumaFusion. Okay, I'm getting very, very good at LumaFusion. I just did a 1-hour podcast on LumaFusion on the iPad. I have an older iPad Air 2. LumaFusion runs fine on it. LumaFusion runs fine on my iPhone. So I edited this. It's about an hour-long podcast. It's coming out shortly. It's not my podcast. It's somebody else's. And I started on the phone, then I switched to the iPad because I can work a little faster, bigger screen. But when I'm live at NAB and I want to put together a couple of quick clips, I'll be doing it on my iPhone. I'll shoot on the iPhone, edit with LumaFusion on the iPhone, and then stream those clips live from the iPhone, all on one device. Because in the past, I shoot on the iPhone, I got to transfer it to my MacBook Pro and edit it in Final Cut. No. Shoot on the iPhone, edit on the iPhone, upload on the iPhone, all on one device. It makes it very, very easy. Now, I'm not doing a long-form documentary on that, but I am doing short, quick videos, like when I'm at the Creative Summit. This is what I'm going to be using for live streaming. Shooting clips, putting them together. I can title them, put transitions. I want to do it quick, and I'm getting really good on LumaFusion for that. So I'm pretty excited about that. Now, I'm not going to edit all the video I do, like at the Final Cut Pro Creative Summit. I'm going to take my Lumix S5 Mark II X so I can shoot indoors with low light. That's going to be 6K open gate files. And I'll crop them down to 4K, edit that in Final Cut. But that's not an issue getting it off the Lumix. I just take the card out, plug it into my MacBook Pro, and download it to the Finder, then download it to Final Cut. Sorry, good morning to you. Reason why we'll upgrade to the USB-C telephoto lens, yes, thinner bezels, better image sensor, maybe Sony sensor, really going to be big changes for mobile creators. Absolutely. I use my phone all the time. Thank you for the thumbs up. I appreciate it. I use my phone all the time. Now, they've announced some things. Let's go over there to the Final Cut Pro Creative Summit website, because they've announced some things this week. Let me see. Here we go. So here we go. Desktop. Here we go. Here's my desktop. So the Final Cut Pro Creative Summit, if you don't know, the program, this is the program. Apple Day, November the 6th. New details are coming soon. And they have all of the different sessions that they have for each day. Okay? But Monday, Apple Day, you can see this is the Spaceship Campus. We are going to the Spaceship Campus. This is the first time we actually get to the Spaceship Campus. Now, the interesting thing is this. Monday, we're going to be at the Spaceship Campus all day. We have one full day at the Apple campus. Now, what we don't know is, typically, this is what will happen. They'll have an opening ceremony at the Creative Summit. Welcome, everybody, Final Cut Pro. That's probably going to be the Final Cut Pro team doing a presentation at the Spaceship Campus, maybe at the Steve Jobs Theater. Now, what happens after that? Typically, we see a presentation, then we go to a Final Cut Pro demo room that has all the latest Final Cut Pro gear, all the latest Macs. It'll have Final Cut on iPad, I'm sure. And we get to hang around with the Final Cut Pro team. They will be there demoing anything new about Final Cut Pro for 45 minutes or an hour. And we also have, in the past, we had to divide the group up because it was too big. So we had half the group went to the demo room, half the group went to get something to eat, snacks, hors d'oeuvres, drinks, coffee and drinks on Apple. This time, that's because the rooms were smaller. This time, we're at the Spaceship Campus. I'm thinking they might have a room big enough to house all of us. Now, I'm figuring 100 to 150 to 200 attendees to this event, because typically we always have 150, so they divided us up into 60 to 75 people, different groups. Then they once promised a visit to the Spaceship Campus, only to cancel it. They most certainly did. Now, FMC didn't cancel it. Let's get that straight. They didn't promise. Twice it was scheduled. In 2019, it was canceled within 2 weeks of the thing going live, and I'm pretty sure it was Apple that canceled it for whatever reason. It was pre-COVID, so that wasn't the issue. But pretty sure Apple canceled it. FMC, there was no reason for them to cancel it. It's a big drawing card. This time, the entire day is at Apple. They call it Apple. They don't call it Spaceship. They call it Apple Park. One full day. So the question is this. We get a 45-minute presentation. 45-minute presentation. Who's tinging me? Oh, it's the project I'm working on on LumaFusion. So 45 minutes, Apple Day. First, I'm going to presume it's first thing in the morning. It's probably first thing in the morning. Apple presentation from the Final Cut Pro team. Anything new with Final Cut Pro. If there's a new MacBook, if there's a new anything, it'll probably show some Final Cut for iPad demonstrations. Most people are not going to be there for Final Cut for iPad. This is more Final Cut for Mac, but they do have a session Final Cut for iPad. So we'll have the first session, 45 minutes or so. Everybody is there for that. They don't do two sessions. Everybody is there. I'm thinking it might be the Steve Jobs Theater because the crowd is going to be big enough. The crowd is going to be big enough. So to me, just going to the Spaceship Campus for one day is worth going to the summit by itself. It really is to me. I mean, I've never been in. I have no way of getting in. This, I can get in for one day. The question is, presentation, maybe a little break for snacks and coffee, demo room where we get to see, sometimes we get to see a new version of Final Cut if one's available. Sometimes we get to preview of a new version of Final Cut if one's available. But in both of those circumstances, whether there's a new version available or a preview, in the past, they've let us post that information to social media immediately. In 2017, 10.4 came out at the Creative Summit in 2017. We were allowed to post it. They showed us the new version. It was out on the App Store the same day. In 2018, 10.4.4 came out. No, 10.4.4 was previewed at the Creative Summit in the demo room. It was not out yet. They let us post about it on social media. They encouraged us to post about it on social media. So anything like that happens, I presume the same thing. If there's a new version of Final Cut, 10.7, whatever, they will most likely let us post about it immediately. So be on the lookout for that. I don't know anything. This is just my editorial comments. I do expect 10.7 to be released this year, either at a Mac event in October or at the Creative Summit in November. But just going to the Spaceship Campus for the entire day, it's $299 for 3 days. Going to the Spaceship Campus, if I lived in that area, is worth the $299 just to go to Spaceship Campus alone, because you're going to see the Final Cut Pro team. I don't know what they're going to do after that. Final Cut Pro team starts at 9 o'clock. Final Cut Pro team presentation. That's what I'm saying. They haven't announced it yet. Demo room, maybe a break for lunch. What happens in the afternoon? What are we going to do at the Spaceship Campus in the afternoon? Gift shop. Thank you very much for the thumbs up. We're going to go to the Apple Park gift shop, I'm sure, to be able to buy some swag. I might buy something. We'll have to see. I usually don't have any room to take it back. I'd have to ship it back. So in the afternoon, what are we going to do? I'd love to go to where the Final Cut Pro team works. I would love to see where they work and maybe talk to some of the Final Cut Pro team. Of course, they can hide anything that we weren't supposed to see. But if they release a new version, just say they released 10.7 or a preview of 10.7, either way, go to where the working space is. But obviously the campus is huge. There's plenty of places to go. But I wonder if they're going to have other more formal things that are going on at the Apple Park for day one, because it's the entire day. It's Monday. It's all day. We're going to be at Apple Park. First off, we've never been at Apple Park before. Second off, Final Cut Pro presentation from the team. Demo room to show whatever is new, hardware, software, whatever there's new. Demo room, we spend some time in there. The team is also in there demoing things. I've streamed live from there before. They don't mind in the past taking pictures and stuff. They don't want you to take pictures of their employees, but of the hardware and stuff. But I don't know what they're going to do after that. My hopes are high. I can feel that auto caption is coming. I think that's when 10.7, Final Cut Pro 10.7 comes out, I think they're going to have auto captions, text-based editing. I'm pretty sure they're going to have those things for sure. Yes, be better if it's text-based editing, both. So text-based editing and auto captions kind of go together. They do in Resolve. You can do both. Text-based editing and auto captions, both. So, my expectations for Final Cut Pro have been tempered since 10.5 and 10.6. Neither one of those have been that. 10.5 especially took 3 years and it was not much there. I'm going to hold them down to this realistic level. I would love the Final Cut Pro team to blow my expectations out of the water with a brand new version of 10.7 with a lot of great features that people are asking for. That's what I hope, and I think other people are as well. We'll see. I don't want to raise anybody's hopes. I'm saying 10.7 is coming out. I'm not saying what's in 10.7 other than I'm pretty confident text-based editing auto captions is going to be in there because it's, NAB last year, Resolve Beta 18.5 had them, and Premiere also had them. And now Avid I know Avid's had script sync, but they had something else added recently to Avid with text-based editing. I don't know what tech they've got. Thanks for the thumbs up. I appreciate it. It's very much appreciated. Look at that, another thumbs up. Fantastic. Appreciate it. Do you think image quality on the iPhone 15 Ultra to be much better image quality than iPhone Pro Max? Seems like 13 and 14 pretty much comparable, but I'm hoping that absolutely it'll be improved, because they always improve the sensor and they improve the lenses and they have some other tricks up their sleeve. I mean, cinematic mode is pretty cool. It works really well. You can edit it post in Final Cut Pro. Now, you can already shoot ProRes on these phones. I haven't done that very much. I've done a little bit of it, testing it. However, because of the pain of getting large files off of the phone, I'm less likely to do that. So I'll be getting the same version, Space Black, whatever the black version is. This is a Moment case, which takes Moment lenses. I'm not going to get the Moment lenses anymore. I haven't used them for a long time because the iPhone lenses are so good, except for anamorphic. I might keep the anamorphic one, but I'll be getting the same thing. At least 1 terabyte SSD, the highest level one that they have. There's been rumors that it's going to be an Ultra. I don't know for a fact. We do know it's USB-C for sure. Well, we don't know for sure, but we don't know if the Ultra version is going to be out. If they have an Ultra version, if the camera's better, the lenses are better, the storage is better, I'll probably get that. Now, are you excited about the phone? I am. I'm always excited at this event. This is one of my favorite events of the year. This is probably my favorite event that Apple puts on. Now, by and large, absolutely, the Final Cut Pro Creative Summit is the biggest Final Cut Pro event in the world every year. My friend Philip Hodgetts calls it the Final Cut Pro Family Reunion, and that's exactly what it is. It's a family reunion for the Final Cut Pro people that can make it there. But as far as Apple events that are streamed, the iPhone event typically has been my favorite. WWDC second. Because WWDC a lot of times they don't even have hardware or anything a lot of times. But anything, if they sneak anything Final Cut Pro related in, that's fantastic. I'm always excited about that. Who else is getting an iPhone, a new iPhone this year? We have Dreamverse. It says they're getting one. I'm going to get one for sure, and I'm going to sell my iPhone 14. Apple makes it very easy to trade it in. I only get half price. That's okay. Half price for 1 year. That's fine. I use it so much all the time. Thanks for the thumbs up. It's appreciated. Let's take a sip of coffee. Look at that. Look at that. So that's the backyard. We got some rain the last couple of days. It's been kind of dry. You can see how green it is. The birds, I guess the birds are not hungry. So the Final Cut Pro Creative Summit, let's go back to that page. The Final Cut Pro Creative Summit, it's FCP Creative Summits, plural with an S. So they confirmed the dates and location, November 6th to 8th at Apple Park. See, it says Apple Park, and the Hyatt Regency Santa Clara. Now, the Hyatt Regency Santa Clara is where the presentations are going to be held. That's where the sessions are going to be held on Tuesday, all day Tuesday and all day Wednesday. But it's an expensive hotel to stay at as far as a hotel goes. So most people are not going to stay there for their hotel. Most people are not going to stay there for a hotel. I'm not. I'm staying at another hotel where most of the presenters are, where Future Media Concepts people are, and that is here. Aloft Santa Clara, Santa Clara. That's where people are staying. It's less expensive. They now have a book. They have a discount rate for attendees of the Final Cut Pro Creative Summit. You can now book that. Shows you how it works. Final Cut Pro Summit attendees block. The Aloft Santa Clara. There's the price. They're expensive. These things are all expensive. Anything in California is expensive. So they have 3 different locations. Apple Park on Monday, the Hyatt Regency, which is kind of going to be the central location where all the presentations are, where you go to meet in the morning before you go to Apple Campus, Apple Park. You'll be meeting, I'm sure, at the Hyatt Regency Santa Clara. That's going to be the central point. People can stay anywhere they want. There's not, I don't know, the Aloft Santa Clara might be the central place at this point where people meet up for after hours, before hours, I don't know. But so there's 3 different places. They will bus us, I'm sure, from the Hyatt Regency Santa Clara to Apple Park. That's going to be a long trip. 2 buses, maybe 3 buses this time. It might be more than in the past. I think each one of the buses is 50 to 60 people. So there's been 120, 130 people in previous summits. I think there's going to be more this time because of the potential for 10.7 and the full day at Apple Park and the $299 price of the Creative Summit used to be $1,000. So I will get a new iPhone, keep my present one as a wireless monitor for Komodo. Yeah, I've heard about that. Is that an app that does that? Is that what happens? It's an app? I think it is. Yeah, I have other older iPhones, and I don't want, when I pay, these iPhones are $1,500, $1,600, $1,700. When I pay for the new one, the new iPhone, fast data transfer is what I'm after. I don't want the old one because of the data transfer problem. Now, if you don't film on it, use it for something else, this makes complete sense. But that lightning port has been outdated for 5 years as far as I'm concerned. They should have replaced it 5 years ago with something else. How long has USB-C been out? Eric Emmerich says, yes, Red Control app. Absolutely. I have 2 other iPhones. This is my iPhone 6 Plus Pro, whatever the high-end 6 Plus was. This is the first one that shot 4K video, so I still keep this one around. I will shoot on it occasionally if I need another phone. And then I have an iPhone 10 that also I keep around. But those are my only legacy ones. I'm not keeping the 14 Pro Max because of the lightning port. I'm not going to do that. It's going to be trade-in. If Apple typically gives me half price. If they give me half price, that'll be fine. If they don't give me half price, I'll probably sell it on Facebook Marketplace. I just sold a gimbal on there last week. Somebody came up from DC to buy it. I put it on for a good price. Cash only, no Venmo, no anything else. You come up here, bring the cash. We'll see what the price is going to be. It works really, really well for me. Well, first off, I have 5 different states that can reach me within an hour. Delaware, Pennsylvania, Virginia, West Virginia, Washington, D.C., and Maryland. 5 or 6 states that can come to me within an hour to buy something. So I sell things on there all the time. So let's go back to look at the schedule here, the summit. Dates and location confirmed. Apple Park on November the 6th, the 7th and 8th at Hyatt Regency Santa Clara. That's where the presentations are going to be. But a lot of people are going to be staying at the Aloft Santa Clara, which is about a mile away. It's about a mile away, so you'll have to get from there to the Hyatt Regency in the mornings. Yeah, we can team up pitching everybody can get on an Uber and take it. It's only 1 mile away. You can walk it in 15, 20 minutes. So at this point, the program is, this is the program, Apple Day, all day, November the 6th, all day at Apple Park. I am really excited about that. I am really excited. And then November the 7th, they have all these different sessions, all kinds of things. There's a break, of course. Are these things live? I don't think they're live yet. They don't give you the breakdowns yet, who's teaching or whatever. That will be probably coming at any point. This is an exciting time. Networking Expo Night. That'll be an exciting time. I'll be filming the whole time I'm there. I have 2 different cameras, different setups, different microphone setups. Expo Night is very cool. So that's on Tuesday night. Probably about 7 o'clock, 7 to 8:30, something like that. They have food. They have all kinds of great stuff there. So let's look.
Literally, you turn right, left, or any direction, and you see 8 people.
This is a typical expo night of what it looks like.
Look who I found. This is live on YouTube right now.
I can't believe what Apple just did.
I can't either.
I don't know how I'm going to top this next year. For those of you who are seeing this live or even later, Apple said, hey, why don't you take some pictures of Final Cut Pro 10.4? And no NDA. You're hearing about it first here, and you're hearing about it from him. I am stunned. I was shivers went through my body when they showed it to us. And I actually had to go to somebody and say, wait, did you just say we can take photos? And they said, yeah, not of our people. Take photos of the interface. I'm shocked.
What did you say on my radio show, on the Final Cut Pro radio show? You said if Apple announced 10.4 for the second year.
I said if they ship.
Well, you said you'd be in a corner just crying tears of joy, whatever.
I would be thrilled if they shipped it. And I think I'm actually happier having them do this because for this simple reason, you should have been here this year.
That's right. This is Jeff Greenberg, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. He's on one of the last episodes of Final Cut Pro Radio.
I had a blast. It was a mega episode.
We talked for 2.5 hours, and I had to edit that down to 45 minutes or so.
That's skill.
But that's okay.
That's okay.
Skill. That's all right.
I'm sure you made me sound excellent.
This thing in Apple Campus today was so unusual.
Yes, it is. Oh, thank you,
Peter. Don't you think?
Bless you. Thank you.
Don't you think?
What?
It's unusual.
Yes, in very many ways.
So that was an example of Expo Night. Final Cut Pro people all over the place, regular editors from all over the United States. They came over from England. They came over from Australia, Germany, all kinds of places. Expo Night is another highlight of the Creative Summit. So number one is Apple Day, talking to the Final Cut Pro team, getting a presentation from the Final Cut Pro team. Sometimes we get exclusive content because we're paying for everything. Expo Night is the next night. On Tuesday night is fantastic. Let me see. We have some comments here I got to catch up on. Matthew says, "Hey Richard, how you doing? Might even have a shuttle service." I don't think they're going to have a shuttle from one hotel to the other. It's only 1 mile away because people are going to be coming and going at different times. There's going to be a shuttle from the main location to the Apple campus. I know that. California is very scenic. Thanks for the thumbs up. I appreciate it. You guys are the best, guys and gals. What do you think about the new Procreate app for iPad? $19.99 one time, can do video, hundreds of audio tracks and animation. That looks amazing. That looks amazing. Listen, for $19.99 for a purchase, I'm in. I don't care if I never use it. I want to support developers that do stuff like that. I still have to watch some of the videos. As a matter of fact, we have a graphic here. This is the graphic. Introducing Procreate Dreams is what it's called. Thank you for the thumbs up. I appreciate it. It looks fantastic. It really does. I am absolutely going to be buying that. I don't probably have an iPad that can run it yet, but I'll be buying it because it's a one-time purchase in $19.99, and I'll learn how to use it. Absolutely. Thumbs up. So Matthew says that. I said thumbs up for that. I don't even know what it is besides animation and hundreds of audio tracks. It's phenomenal. Well, I'll definitely buy that. I'm not sure what Ernest is talking about. Will you be able to ask Final Cut Pro developer? Thank you for the thumbs up. I appreciate it. Ask the developer. We'll be able to talk to the developers for sure. Absolutely be able to talk to the developers.
Want a cookie? I'll be out in just a minute.
Second. Is that going to change between?
When you point it over, it's
I have an app up right now. It has how big the brains are, and it's going off the charts. Going off the charts.
Does that mean that there's a lot of information? We've all got cranial inflammation. Yes.
when you point it over at Brad and I, it goes down.
No.
It's not a live tracker, is it?
It goes with her.
So these are the kind of things, people hang out different places, they have bars, they have dinners together. It's Final Cut Pro for 3 days, 4 days, if you count Sunday. I'll be coming in on Sunday. And it's phenomenal event. Now, it's not cheap. The event itself is only $299 this year, which is 1/3 of the price it normally is. You still got to pay for transportation. You got to pay for a hotel. Thanks for the thumbs up. I appreciate it. So it is a financial investment. If you're working, you have to take off work for a couple of days. You got to make arrangements. It is an investment. It is an investment, but we get exclusive content that nobody else gets there. Sometimes we can announce it, and sometimes we can't. The majority of stuff we can announce, okay? The majority of Final Cut Pro news that comes out of the Creative Summit, this is the Apple event where you're going to find out about Final Cut Pro. This is Apple's, with Future Media conferences, this is their Apple event. Thank you very much for the thumbs up. This is the Final Cut Pro Apple event. This is the biggest Final Cut Pro event in the world every year. The majority of things that comes out of the Final Cut Pro Creative Summit can be made public, and can be made public instantly. As soon as we find out about it, we're allowed to post on social media. At least that's what it's been in the past. Now, if they show us something that we can't show, you'll have to wait until it's released. But in the past, they haven't done that. In the past, they've shown us 10.3, they've shown us 10.4, they've shown us 10.4.4, and we could immediately post it on social media. So as soon as we knew, the entire Final Cut Pro community knows. It's just introduced there, you're in person there. It's like being at a rock concert. You buy a ticket, you got to get parking, you got to get transportation, you pay a lot of money for the ticket, and then you get to see the Rolling Stones or somebody else live and in person. This is the same kind of thing. You'll know about Final Cut Pro news They're not going to announce major Final Cut Pro stuff and say, oh, you can't talk about it. They're going to say, here's some things about Final Cut Pro, a new version. Put it out on social media immediately. That's typically what happens, and I expect the same thing to happen this time. Now, there is an event that we won't be able to talk about. There is an event that we will not be able to talk about. And that is this one. At the end of the last day, we get dialogue with Apple, Q&A with the Final Cut Pro team. Okay? This one, we are not able to talk about what goes on in that room. And there's a couple reasons for that. First off, it's not going to be a new version of Final Cut or something like that. That's already been announced a couple days ahead of time. This is just things that the Final Cut Pro team says, here's what happens. It's a Q&A. The Final Cut Pro team is typically up on a little panel on stools in front of the room. 100, 200 people are in the room. We submit questions in advance. They answer live questions. They don't answer all of them, but they answer a lot of them. They tell us some things. If they feel comfortable that what they're talking about does not leave that room, they'll be more forthcoming and more open about it. If they thought people were going to leak information, they would clamp up. So that's not about a new version of Final Cut and stuff. I mean, maybe, but not about one that's coming out in a couple weeks. But there are things, unless they change, I mean, they could change. There are things at that second meeting with the Final Cut Pro team, a Q&A, that we're not going to be able to talk about. Other than saying something like, it was positive. Look forward to a new version. Look forward to something in the future or whatever. Thank you for the thumbs up. Do you think that iPhone USB will be able to iPad Pro to transfer data to edit on iPad? Good question, Dreamverse. That's a great question. One of the questions that I had, very specifically, is this. If that's a USB-C port, and I plug in a fast USB-C SSD, or if it's actually Thunderbolt on the high-end ones, and I plug in a Thunderbolt SSD, will I be able to access those files the same as when I connect that SSD to my MacBook Pro? Would it be the same? Same speed? Same ability to edit? If you're using Final Cut for iPad, will you be able to plug, well, the iPads are already out. They already have USB. But the iPhone, if I'm editing on LumaFusion, will I be able to edit files directly? I'm sure I can. I guess the question is it going to be as fast as a USB being plugged into the Mac version? Thank you for the thumbs up. Appreciate it. I guess that's the question. Is it going to be like plugging an SSD into the Mac? I can access files. I can transfer files. If I can transfer files from my iPhone to an SSD, and it's fast like the Mac version is, I'm much more apt to get the 2 terabyte iPhone. I'll probably get the 2 terabyte. I'll get the 1 terabyte at least. Depends on the price differential. I'll probably get the 2 terabyte. That's what they're saying is going to be out. Yes. Don't forget to subscribe over there at YouTube. Richard Taylor TV, the normal place. You people are the best Final Cut Pro viewers anywhere. That's what I have right here. The very best. So iPhone 15 Pro, Tuesday, Pro Max, I'll get the top end one. Order it Tuesday, order it Friday, whenever. I'm not sure. Apple likes to get it out during the month of September, so I'll be getting that. I'll start filming with it, whatever. There's probably a few surprises, not just USB-C, but some other surprises on that. I don't know if there's going to be anything Final Cut Pro related, because unless there's like another layer of cinematic mode or something else that they're talking about, I doubt ProRes RAW. I don't see that on an iPhone. I don't see that. But ProRes, yes. We already have ProRes. We've had it for a while. What I'd like to see a new mouse, a mouse that doesn't require charging on a cable, that just charges on a magnetic pad. I'd like to see a native Pro Cam app. Okay? So you have access to white balance, and you have access to ISO, and you have access to exposure and all these things that the Final Cut for iPad has a Pro Cam. So we know Apple has it. I'd like to see that app transferred to the iPhone 15 Pro Max and the 14 and the 13 because it's not hardware dependent. It is not hardware dependent. I'd like to see a Pro Cam app introduced that we have access to. We don't have the camera app right now. You can't even access any audio controls. There's no audio meters on the camera app, native camera app. What's going on, Apple? You know that audio is half of video. Give us that Pro Cam app along with the new iPhone 15 Pro Max. I'm excited about it. If there's anything Final Cut Pro, I don't think there's anything Final Cut Pro related at the iPhone event. Do you? I don't think so. I mean, other than maybe a new version of ProRes. I mean, ProRes RAW would be incredible if they put it on a phone. That would be incredible. I know they have log stuff you can do with Filmic Pro and stuff. But natively, I'm talking about the native camera app. I'd like to see audio controls, white balance, be able to lock white balance, some other things. You're making these incredibly sophisticated pro iPhone cameras and hardware. Periscope lens, 6 times optical zoom, 4 different lenses, cinematic mode. Give us a better native cam app. I would even be willing to pay for a Pro Cam app from Apple if it's a one-time purchase. No more subscriptions. Okay? No more subscriptions. I don't like subscriptions from Apple. Apple has dozens and dozens of apps they give away for free. Some of the pro apps they charge for. I'd rather pay a one-time fee than subscriptions. I hope Apple figures that out. Who's getting an iPhone 15? Who's getting an iPhone 15? Anybody? Next question. Who's going to the Final Cut Pro Creative Summit? Anybody out there going to the Creative Summit? Cupertino, California? Now, I am going to be curious. What else is involved in Apple Day here. I'm going to be curious because they had said stay tuned for more details. Stay tuned. I'll be curious how they break this down. What we're going to be doing at Apple Campus. Can we go to Tim Cook's office and say hi? I'd go there. Thomas says, I'm really hoping for high-speed transfers from the new iPhone. Absolutely. Putting USB-C without high-speed transfers is just ridiculous. They can't do that to us. Thanks for the thumbs up. I appreciate it. Do you use Filmic Pro, etc.? I wish Apple had native camera app. I'd get rid of Filmic Pro, etc. That's what I'm saying. We've seen the Pro Camera app in the new version of Final Cut for iPad. One of the features is Apple has developed a Pro Camera app. Not dependent on hardware. It's not hardware dependent because all these phones can access those things with Filmic Pro and other things. When Filmic Pro first came out with their subscription model, and it was $50 a year, I was absolutely 100% against it. I said, no way I'm going to subscribe. That's a ridiculous amount of money for a native camera app. Final Cut for iPad only costs the same amount. But they have a special, $19 a year. For right now, they have a special. I got that. Even if I don't use it, I'll support $19 with Filmic Pro. I will not support $49. It's way, way too much money. There's dozens and dozens of other, not dozens, there's a dozen other pro camera apps. Some are free, some are $5, some are $10, some are like $19 a year subscription. They were way, way out of line with that $49 price tag. Right now, $19, I took it. So I do have Filmic Pro for 1 year, and I'm back on board with Filmic Pro. Thank you very much for the thumbs up. I appreciate it. I hope to get a new iPhone at some point, assuming USB-C is true. I'm pretty sure it's true at this point. I think that's pretty certain. 100% getting new iPhone, the Ultra one, so I'm excited. Christmas gift to myself. Absolutely. That's what it feels like, doesn't it? It feels like Bruce Babcock says, 2019, we had a few morning sessions and a lunch hour before we went to Apple. Correct. Making it a full day overall. Guessing they do the same this year. But this year, we're going to be at Apple for the entire day. In prior years, we were at the hotel for the morning for the first half and then went to Apple. This day, Monday, is all day at Apple Park. All day. We'll go to, here's what I presume. We'll go to the hotel to meet in the morning, load on the buses. The buses will take us to Apple Park and we'll stay there all day. So this, yes, we had sessions and lunch before Apple Park, but that was at the hotel, the Juniper Hotel. This year is different. Thank you, Rich, for nice compliments about us being good viewers and not so shabby yourself. Thank you. What a great compliment that is. No, you guys are the best. My viewers on this show, you're the best. You're absolutely the best. You have lots of good comments. You have questions. If you have questions about Final Cut Pro, you can bring them in there. And this community, Final Cut TV and Coffee community, will try to help you answer them. Thank you very much. Thank you for the thumbs up. Appreciate it. So let's talk about that for a second. The Rode app for free is not too bad. It shows audio, etc. The Rode app is fantastic. The Rode app is really, really cool. And have you seen the new Rode Pro microphones? Look, I'm a big proponent of the DJI wireless system because the old Rode 1 and 2, I had both of those. They were clunky, 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 clunky. This new Rode Pro system, it's physically still clunky. The transmitters are much bigger than they need to be compared to the DJI ones, and it's expensive. It's $499, but they give you 2 lapel mics, and each one of those are typically $99 by themselves. So, yes, the Rode app is very, very cool. Absolutely. What is it called? Let's look at this a second. So, is anybody else excited about the iPhone 15, or is it just me? I know I'm just being rhetorical, of course. I'm just being silly. What is it called? Rode Capture. So it's the Rode Capture app. Look at that. Picture of me. This is the one. It's really, really cool. You can do dual cam with it. You can do dual cams with it. 2 different cameras, front and back camera. This is the front and the back. It's free. It's really, really good, and it has audio meters. I agree. The Rode app. There's a lot of, the thing is, there's a lot of apps out there for the cameras. There's a lot of camera apps. Thank you very much for the thumbs up. There's a lot of camera apps. A lot of them. I think let me see if I pulled that up on my site. Which site did I put that on? I don't remember. I put up it must be a YouTube video. I put up a YouTube video comparing a lot of the different camera apps. I'll put that up on my website again. So I have FCPX.TV and I have FCP Radio, the podcast. We have a special guest coming on after the Apple event this week. We're going to do a new version of Final Cut Pro Radio, of course, like we always do. Couple more comments. I hope that you guys get to try Apple Vision Pro on the tour if you have not tried it yet. I have not tried it yet. I don't think anybody's tried it except for a few beta testers. My iPhone setup gear. It looks like 15 looks like a great update. It really does, absolutely. Just for the iPhone, just for the USB-C alone, but everything else. Been waiting on the USB-C for iPhone for ages, it seems. Definitely excited. Fantastic, fantastic. So we'll do well, pay attention to the channel. You guys and gals are all here today. We're here every Saturday, 10 a.m., usually 10 a.m., sometimes 9, sometimes 11, usually 10 a.m. But this is 31 episodes. Let me do that the other way. 31 episodes of Final Cut TV and Coffee. We've been doing these for over 6 months. Continuous. I think I maybe just missed one. Not sure. Might have missed one. So what else? Anything else going on in the world of Final Cut Pro? Let me just check my list. I have a list over here. We talked about the new Procreate app. Here we go. Final Cut Pro, introducing the Procreate app. So one of the things that was interesting, let me pull this back over here on graphics. There's introducing the Procreate. This was something that I saw on Twitter that was interesting, that said the first M3 Max won't be available until 2024, according to this source. In the past, there have been rumors that they would debut a second Apple event in October. Okay? Now, let's go over here. Let me just see something here. So here's the deal. Based on the full number of releases in the past 7 years, there are 2 events that could host Final Cut Pro 10.7 launch or a preview of it. The most likely is the Final Cut Pro Creative Summit on November the 6th through the 8th. If Apple hosts an actual Mac event in October, which is what we just were talking about, they could also demo the new machines with a new version of Final Cut Pro. The average, for the last 10 years, the average time span between full number updates is 19 months. Full number Final Cut Pro updates. We are at 23 months right now, between 10.6 and 10.7. So, the one thing that we just saw, the graphics, is that they're not going to have, well, we don't know. If Apple has an Apple event, a Mac event in October, they certainly could announce a new version of Final Cut around that event, because they have in the past. They've announced new full versions of Final Cut around Mac events. The other time is the Final Cut Pro Creative Summit. Absolutely. One of those 2 events is very likely going to introduce a new version of Final Cut Pro this fall. Now, I don't know what's in 10.7. I have no idea, but I predict it's going to be 10.7. Let me look and see what we have here. iPhone setup gear is Road Capture app, small shotgun mic, anamorphic lens. Slim down, don't want DSLR. So yeah, when I'm filming outside, I'm taking this. If I'm filming inside or under darker conditions, I'll take my Panasonic Lumix S5 Mark IIX, which is really good in low light. I have fast primes with it. It's very good in low light. Autofocus is fantastic, so I'll film with that indoors or anytime it might be dark. I will go from an i13 Pro Max to a 15 Pro Not Max. There you go. Ernest says, thanks for your consistency, Richard. You always show up. So far, yes. Well, that's what I'm planning on doing. If we don't have anything to specifically to talk about, we'll just talk about Final Cut Pro in general, just to have this conversation. As you can see from the beginning, people from all around the world tune in to this podcast. I know it's not a podcast, but I'm calling it a podcast. I know this YouTube video is not technically a podcast. I have a podcast. I've been podcasting Final Cut Pro Radio for 8 years. We start our 9th year in January. Consistently. No breaks, no vacations. I broadcast it month after month, year after year. So it's easy to start a podcast. It's easy to start a website. It's easy to start a YouTube channel. What's hard is to keep it going. Easy to start, hard to keep going year after year, month after month, month after month. That's what's hard. Final Cut Pro Radio podcast has been out. We're starting our 9th year in January. No breaks, no vacations. I've had FCPX.TV since Final Cut Pro came out 12 years ago. It's the website. I do a lot of master lists of things where you can go and find resources. I do a few articles. This YouTube channel, same thing. I'm doing this Final Cut TV and Coffee consistently on Saturday mornings, approximately 10 o'clock. Sometimes it might be 11, sometimes it might be 9. You subscribe to the channel, you'll find out. Are there other destinations you try to stop by whenever you're in the Bay Area for the summit? There's one place I'd like to go, and that's Steve Jobs' house in Cupertino. I didn't know it was that close, but apparently the house that Steve Jobs grew up in is not that far. So if I get the time, I may make the time. I'll get an Uber to go to Steve Jobs' house. Other than that, just restaurants, you're kind of booked. I mean, as you can see, for those sessions, you have, for these sessions, okay? You already have 2 different sessions that are happening at the same time. 1, 2. What, you got to pick one, or you got to pick the other. This one or this one. Or you got to pick this one or take this one. Then you get a short break. This is 11, 15, 12. It's only like an hour break. You get an hour break. You got to get something to eat, come back, rest for a second, get some water. Then you got to choose Final Cut Pro Anywhere, the iPad editing experience, storytelling through sound. You got to choose 1 or 2 of those. Okay? You can't, they're not both, So you already kind of rushed where you're going to go, which ones you're going to go to. You already have this. Then behind the, then there's a panel discussion. Another panel discussion. Expo night is really fun. You get an hour or so break there. 5:15, probably over at 6 o'clock. I think Expo night either starts at 6:30 or 7, so you have a little break there to go get some dinner and stuff. But Expo night has food as well. Then you start back up again, 9 o'clock the next morning, and then you got to go through 2 different sessions. You got to choose which one of these sessions you're going to have. And then you got a break, and then you got to choose the sessions. And then the very last thing, dialogue with Apple Q&A with the Final Cut Pro team. So it's already kind of rushed. You don't have now I'm not going there for the sessions. Okay, I'm going there to film. I did the Final Cut Pro Creative Summit documentary, which was on YouTube. And I film, since I have the Lumix camera, I'll film short segments. I'll go into each room, film a couple minutes of each person. So number one, they have a little record of their sessions, see themselves. And number two, so I can continue the Final Cut Pro Creative Summit documentary. So I'll go back and forth from one room to the other. I don't go into the sessions typically because I'm a Final Cut Pro trainer myself, and I teach Final Cut Pro classes myself. I've taught for Future Media Concepts. I've taught for Boston University. I've taught Final Cut Pro. I'm an Apple certified Final Cut Pro trainer, so I can teach these classes. But I will go into some of them and sit for a bit. These are people, and most of you are all my friends. So I'll sit in, but I'll film a little bit of their sessions so they have it. Plus, we'll have it for the continuation of the Final Cut Pro documentary. It's kind of interesting timing for the Procreate release. Wonder if Apple will release a new iPad next week. Do they release iPads at the iPhone event? I think they release them at the Mac events, don't they? And do you remember iPad and iPhone being released at the same time event? Well, I don't think so. I think the iPad is either its own event or it's released with Macs. I think the iPhone is specifically for the iPhone because that's Apple's biggest seller. That event is iPhone's biggest seller. I don't know for a fact, but I'm thinking no, they won't do that. Do you think that iPhone Ultras shoot very good in low light? And I think they might have all those lens flares when we are shooting in night lighting. Oh, I don't know about the lens flares. That's something to do with the lenses, I guess. I see them all the time. I think it'll be better in low light than the iPhone 15 Pro Max, for sure. Everything about the camera is going to be better. There's going to be a new sensor, most likely. There are going to be new lenses, probably 6 times optical zoom, which is fantastic for a phone. I know Android have had 10 times optical zoom, whatever, but I've never used an Android phone. So I'm going to stick to my iPhone. I'm going to stick to my iPhone. I'm very familiar with the Apple ecosystem. I'm very satisfied. So next week, iPhone event on Tuesday, 10 o'clock Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. I will be back on live during the week next week 2 times, 2 separate times. So be aware, watch my Twitter feed, go to the Final Cut Pro. Let me pull that up. Where is that? I have to look at my glasses. Here we go. Final Cut Pro, my Facebook group, Facebook.com/groups, Final Cut Radio TV. That's where I post the most. We got about 2,000 members so far. I post there the most. Anything related to these live streams, I'll answer questions there. I'll answer a lot of questions there. Of course, you can keep on posting to the YouTube video as well. I pay attention to all that. So that's one of them. And then you can also go to Facebook.com/groups, Final Cut Pro Tips and Tricks. That's at 9.9 thousand members. So right now we're just about 10,000 members over there. That's more generic. I answer a lot of questions there as well. I've had these groups for a long time. Those are the groups you want to go to. What do you expect to coming to Apple event? I think, well, they're saying whether iPhone, iOS, other AirPods, and surprise how long. This is a big event for Apple. The iPhone is Apple's top moneymaker. The iPhone is probably responsible for 40% of Apple income, maybe more. This is Apple's biggest moneymaker. iPhone and watch, an iPad plus Macs usually. Yeah, I think the iPad comes out with, but I mean, Apple will do what they want. If they wanted to introduce a new iPad, they certainly could. I'm not in the market for an iPad. Let me just pull this up real quick. I'm not in the market for an iPad. However, let me just do this real quick. Let me see if I can pull up something that's not. Let me just see if I can. I have indeed edited something on my iPad with LumaFusion. This is my first full-length edit I've done on an iPad LumaFusion. Really, really, really like it. It'll be coming out shortly. I really enjoyed it. It's very intuitive, and I'm a big fan. I always have been a big fan. Yeah, we have the iPhone watch typically. Very good. So don't forget. I forgot to put my logo up. Here we go. My name's Richard Taylor, of course. What else do we have? I think that's about it. Don't forget to subscribe over there at YouTube. I am going to be back on next week at least twice in the afternoons. Thank you very much for the thumbs up. It's appreciated. I'm telling you, you, the audience, are the best audience of any YouTuber anywhere, of any Final Cut Pro YouTuber. I have the best audience. You are the best. So go over there to if you can any way possible, go over there to the Final Cut Pro Creative Summit. If you can get there, if you can take off work, if you can afford to take off work, it's going to be a really, really, really good time. One other thing, if you do register over there at the Creative Summit, let Future Media know that I sent you. Thank you very much for the thumbs up. It's appreciated. Let Future Media know that I sent you over there. It just helps. It helps. We're media partners. I'm a partner with them. So register now. It's $2.99 for the event itself. So it's $100 a day. It's $100 a day. $100 for Apple Day, $100 for Tuesday, $100 for Wednesday. And Tuesday, you have the Expo Night, which is included in $100. They have food. They have developers that are hanging around. And then Wednesday night, you get to meet the Final Cut Pro team in a private session. It's absolutely worth the money. Now, like I said, you still got to get a hotel and you got to get transportation. Thank you very much for the thumbs up. I appreciate it. Something I did not know that I found out booking around, there's 3 different airports you can fly into. San Jose is by far the closest, 6 or 7 miles. You can also fly into SFO, San Francisco International, and Oakland. You can fly into Oakland, which is the same distance as SFO. It's like 2 miles difference. 2 miles difference. All right, I think I'm going to head out for today. Don't forget to subscribe, ring the notification bell. I will be back on next Saturday, Final Cut TV and Coffee, 10 o'clock Eastern. But I'm going to probably be on at least once during the week, this week, in the afternoons, maybe twice. Might have another special edition. We had Tony Gallardo on last week. We interviewed him on Wednesday. This is the year I'm no longer a proponent of pushing the iPad to be a productivity device. I got M1 iPad last year to replace the 10-year-old MacBook Pro, and it just doesn't cut it. No, I like my MacBook Pro better. I like it better. But LumaFusion on the iPad, listen, LumaFusion runs on the iPad, runs on iPhones, it runs on Chromebooks, it runs on Android, and it runs on M1 Macs. LumaFusion, iPhone, iPad, Chromebooks, Android, and M1 Macs. LumaFusion runs on all of those if you buy the license. Final Cut for iPad only runs on a limited, recent iPad. Nothing wrong with that, but LumaFusion is much broader at this point. They've spread out to a lot of more devices. Now, I'm not going to run it on a Chromebook, obviously. I'm going to run it on the iPhone and iPad. All right? Any questions before we get out of here? We'll check one more time. There's the outdoors, the good old outdoors right here. I have an acre and a half. You're going to see that's going to be a lot of leaves are going to start falling down here in another month or so. When I go to the Creative Summit, I take my own coffee system with me. Ernest White says, thanks for another great coffee session. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for showing up. It's appreciated. Give me the thumbs up. I got lots of thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe. Tell other Final Cut Pro people about this on Saturday mornings. But like I said, once again, I'll be back in the middle of the week. I'll be back at least for one time during the week, maybe 2 times this week on live stream. So subscribe over there at the YouTube channel. We'll be back. Good luck to everybody getting the iPhones. I know it's sometimes a little bit of a scramble getting that order right because I have to trade mine in and then I got to go to the Apple Store, make sure it's good there. I'm looking forward to Tuesday. Thanks for everybody for tuning in. It's appreciated. And I will see you mid next week. And of course, Final Cut TV and Coffee will be back next Saturday. Thanks, everyone. Appreciate it.